Welcome to the fastest daf in town. Today, the Sanhedrin daf Nun. We are going to begin on the bottom of Mem Tesam and Beis, 3 lines from the bottom. Skila, Sreifa, Chulu. So we have a machlokus between the Tanakam and Rav Shimon. What's more chomer, skila or sreifa? And the truth is, what's the nafkamina is what if a person is chayv both misas? So which one are we going to do? The one which is more chomer. So skila chamur misreifa. The Tanakam holds why is skila more chomer? Shkein nitnil megadev la'avoid avodas gilulim. That when a person is a blasphemer or someone who worships idols, so those people, their punishment is skila, which makes sense because these are the worst of errors you can imagine. So my chumrah shekain poishiyah the baker, because they're mamish going against the Kadosh Baruch Hu. They're going against Hashem, being a megadif or worshiping an idol. That's mamish being poishiyah the baker. Adarab sreifa chamor shekain nitnu lebas kayin shezinsa. Now, when it comes to a bas kayin who is mazana, normally when it comes to a girl who is a bas Yisrael, she was mazana during Mishas Nesuin. So the din is she gets the punishment of chenek, which is still, it's a misa, but it's a lower misa. Now, the fact is, a bas kayin, so this is a much worse thing that she did this because she's a bas kayin, she gets the punishment of sreifa. So my chomer shekain mechaleles as avia, she disgraced her whole family. She's a bas kayin and she did this. So therefore, that's the reason Rav Shimon would say that sreifa is more chomer. So why doesn't the Rabbanan say like that? Ksavi Rabbanan hold Nesua Yaitzel Sreifa. A bas kayin b'shas Nesuin. You're right. That's what the pasuk says. We go to Sreifa. V'lo rusa, but not if she's an arusa, because we know when it comes to a bas Yisrael, a nar hamarasa gets skila. A skila, according to the Rabbanan, is more chomer than Sreifa, and therefore only b'shas nesuin does a bas kayin get sreifa. But when it comes to, and this is a machlokas, or Shimon and Tanakama, when it comes to a bas kayin b'shas erison, tak would get skill according to the Rabbanan. V'lo arusa, u'men after rachmanu arusa b'skil shmamna skil chamura. The fact that we say no, she doesn't get sreifa, she gets skila, must be because that's more chomer. Okay, interesting question is, why is being mazana b'shas erison worse than nesuin, which is the truth, right? That's clear because the punishment for erison is skila, as opposed to b'shas nesuin, it's chenek. So interesting thing to think about, but clearly that's the truth. Okay, so the Gemara now continues. So Shema Minah, skila chamura. So we can see from here that skila is more chomer. So let's go straight to question 4. Naira hamarasa, bas kayin, shezinsa be'ezemisa nidainis. So he sends a machlokas. According to Tanakama, she gets skila. According to Rav Shimon, it's going to be straight. Now, we said skila is chamur masayif. Skila is definitely more chomer than sayif, and everyone holds that. Why? Because since skila is given to the worst sinners of all, a blasphemer and an idol worshiper, that's worse than sayif. So my chomer kida amran, because you're pushing the other baker. That when it comes to the city of people who are abid avodas kachavim, so what is their death penalty? Sayif. And they're also worshiping idols. So my chomer shechein memoinen avad, that not only do we kill them, but we take all their money, we put it into the rachav, into the square, town square, and we destroy it. So l'chayra, maybe sayif should be more chomer. So amrit ezer koyach meruba koyach hamediach or koyach hanidiach. Which one's worse? The person who caused others to do a chet, that's a mediach, or hanediach, the one who actually just does the avodah zarah himself. So Avi Omer koyach hamediach, the one who causes others to do avodah zarah, to do a chet, that is worse. It's one thing if I sin, that's wrong, but to cause other people to sin, that's worse. Everyone holds that. V'tanya medich ernidachas b'skila. Actually, the people in the ernidachas, yes, their punishment is going to be sayif. However, if you're a mediach, if you're the one that was the root cause for causing all these people to sin and worship idols, your punishment is skila. So we see that skila is more chomer from ernidachas itself. It must be that skila is more chomer than sayif. Not only that, skill chamura mechenek. Shekain nitin lemegad lovos kachavim. My chomer kuda amran. Again, skila is the worst because it has the worst sins. Then you're pushed the other baker. Adarab mechenek chomer shekain nitin lemakav v'imo. My chomer shekain hukish kavaydim l'kavaydim makayim. When a person hits your parents, it's like you're hitting God, so to speak. So because of that, and we know the punishment is chenek, someone who hits and causes a chabura, some blemish on your parent, so you're chay misa. So mid'akar achman l'rusa bas Yisrael machlal nesua bas Yisrael mechenek l'skil shmamin l'skil chamura. But we do see that, again, you have to understand why, but when it comes to the punishment of a girl, a woman who is an arusa, she gets skila. As opposed to Nisuin, she gets chenek. So why is it that we shift to skila? Must be because skila is more chomer than chenek. And why don't you look at it logically and say cheating or being an ish while you are married is worse than erison? And therefore, we don't say this. And therefore, in the raya is that you get skila only by erison, but by nesuin you get chenek, so maybe chenek's more chomer. But no one says it that way. Again, it certainly needs work to understand why Eishes ish b'shas erison is worse than nesuin. Okay, sreifa chamur masayif. So we broke down skila is definitely more chomer. Again, according to Rabbanan, skila is more chomer than sreifa, more chomer than Saif and Chenek. Now, Sreifa Chamur Masayif. Sreifa Rabban is number 2. Why? Shekin Nitin Labas Kayin Shezinsa. Because a Bas Kayin who's Mazana gets Sreifa. My Chomer Shekin Machalelas Azavia. She disgraced her family. Adarab Saif Chomer Shekin Nitin Lanchir Nidachas. The Anchi and Nidachas are killed with a Saif. My Chomer Shekin Mamon Avad. We destroy their property. So Nemar Aviyah Beskila V'Nemar Aviyah Besreifa. We have Exer Shava. Maviyah Hamur Beskila Skila Chamura Misayif. We know that Skila is more Chomer than Saif, which we already established because the Mediach. Aviyah Hamur Besreifa, Sreifa Chamur Misayif. So we went out through Exer Shava that Sreifa is more Chomer than Saif. Okay. Sreifa Chamur Mechenek. Because again, she gets the punishment of sreifa. My chomer could amran, as we said, she was machal her family. Adarab chenek chomer shekein nitin l'makav v'imoy. My chomer shekein hukish kavana kavana makam. I know we couldn't just say kida amran, right? But again, the kasha is maybe chenek is more chomer because like you're hitting God. So with afki rachman l'nesua bas kayin mechal nesua bas Yisrael mechenek sreifa shmamina sreifa chamura. Because if we compare, this one's very clean, a Bas Yisrael to a Bas Kayin is obviously worse. So Bas Kayin gets Sreifa, and a Bas Yisrael only gets Chenek. Obviously, Sreifa is more Chomer than Chenek. Sayif Chomer Mechenek, this is the Rabbanon. Sayif, which is number 3, is more Chomer than Chenek. Shechein Nitin L'Anshi Nidachas, because the punishment for the city gets killed with a sword. My Chomer Shechein Mamonu Avad. Again, why does it say Kida Amran? I don't know. Adarabba Chenek Chomer Shekein Nitin L'Makav V'Imo My Chomer Shekein Hukish L'Chulu. Afil Hachi Poshid Yod Be'ikar Adiv. Again, because the person is Ovid Avodas Kachavim, that's being Poshet Yadai against Kadosh Baruch Hu. Rav Shimon Omer L'Chos. That's everything explained in order according to the Tanakam. Now we have to understand Rav Shimon, who has a different order. He says it's first Sreifa, then skila. Sreifa chamur maskil shekein nitnul bas kayin shezinso. My chomer shekein machalelas aviyah. The fact that she disgraced her family, so she gets the worst punishment, which is sreifa. So adarabba skil chamur shekein nitnul megad lo ovenovas kachavim. My chomer shekein poishid yad beikar. Right, skil is the worst because you have the worst people or idol worshippers, the blasphemer. So Rav Shimon l'taimei. Yermer achas arusa v'achas nesua yotzil sreifa. So this is again the chiddush. That's not true. When it comes to a bas kayin, the din is that she will get sreifa even b'shas erison, which again is the machlokus whether that's true. Which when it comes to a naimarasa, is that dafka a bas Yisrael but not a bas kayin? That's Rav Shimon. He holds you get sreifa. She gets sreifa. According to the Tanakama, there's no chiluk. There's no distinction. Because the worst is skila, so we'll give her skila. So since we're saying Abbas Koyin gets the worst punishment, doesn't get skila, gets sreifa. Mechlal arusa bas Yisrael meskila sreifa shmamina sreifa chamura. So that's goof of the raya. That he holds that she gets sreifa. The Abbas Yisrael only gets skila. Abbas Koyin will get sreifa. Must be sreifa is more chamer than skila. Sreifa chamura mechanik shekein nitnil Abbas Koyin shezinsa my chomer keda amran. Again, she's mechal her family. It's the worst. Certainly worse than chenek. Adarabba. And of course, everyone agrees to this. Chenek chomer shechein nitnil makav v'imo my chomer shechein hukish kavanu kavanu hamakoim. Mida'akir rachmanu l'nesua bas koyin mechlal nesua bas Yisrael mechenek usreiva shmam nesreifa chamura. So this we said before is that the fact is Abbas Koyin gets sreifa and Abbas Yisrael gets chenek. So obviously Abbas Koyin is worse, a bigger sin. She's mechal her family, so therefore she's going to get a worse punishment. So it says sreifa as opposed to chenek. Must be sreifa is more chomer than chenek. Sreifa chomer mesayv shekein nitnul Abbas Koyin shezinso my chomer k'de amran. Adam mesayv chomer shekein nitnul anshi yerdidachas my chomer shekein memonim avad. So again, maybe we should say that Saif is more chomer than Sreifa. So Amrid v'chiyeh is a koyach maruba koyach amadiach or koyach anidiach. What's worse, the one who causes others to do a chet, or the one who does the avodah zara, which the person who does the avodah zara gets Saif? So what's the answer as we continue to Nunam and Beis? So Havi Omer koyach amadiach. So the one who causes others to sin is worse. So says Rashi, the Rav Shimon Islay Mediche Irnidachas Bechenek. So according to Rav Shimon, the Mediche Irnidachas get Chenek, not Saif. So this is an important point. So even though the Tanakama holds Chenek is more Chomer than Saif, Rav Shimon says no, Chenek is more Chomer than Saif. Why? Because the people that worship idols in the Irnidachas get Saif. However, the people that are actually enticing others to do avodah zara, they get chenek, according to him. We know that chenek is more chomer than sayif, as we just said. Sreifa chomer mimenu, and we already established that sreifa is more chomer from it because of the bas koyin to the bas Yisrael, sreifa versus chenek. So sayif akal lo kol shekain. So that's how we learn it. Skil chamura mechenek. How do we know that skil is more chomer than chenek? So basically, all we did that according to our Shimon, he explained why sreifa is number one. It's more chomer than skila. It's more chomer than chenek, and saif is on the bottom. Skila, which is number two, chomer mechenek shekein nitlu megad la'ovid avodas kachava my chomer k'da amran. Adarabba chenek chomer shekein nitlu l'makav v'imo my chomer shekein hukish v'chulu. So maybe chenek is more chomer than skila. Because we saw when it comes to a bas Yisrael by Nesuin, she gets the punishment of chenek, and when it comes to her being a bas nar hamarasa, she gets skil. So obviously skil is more chomer than chenek. Skil chamur mesayv shekein nitnul magad v'chu. Adar mesayv chamer shekein nitnul na'anshir nidachas. My chomer shekein mamonim avad. So how do we know that skil is more chomer than sayif? Again, according to Rav Shimon, sayif is the lowest. So Amr v'chiyeh is a koyach maru b'koyach amadiach koyach anidiach. Have you ever koyach amadiach? The one who enticed others to worship. So therefore, the irnidachas, the punishment is sayif. However, the people who caused them to kill, to worship idols rather, those people are going to get the punishment of, according to Rashi, chenek. So chenek is worse than saif. So kavachaymer, ma chenek shechamer masayif, as I just said, skil chamor mimenu, skil is more chamer than chenek. So saif kalo koshkein. So chenek chamor masayif shekein nitnu lamaka v'imo umachom. Because that's the punishment hitting a parent, which is you get chenek. Umay chomer k'da amron. Adam Asayv Chamer Shekain Nitl Anchi Nidacha. So my Chomer Shekain Maman Mavad. So Amad Vachi is a Kayach Maruba Kayach Hamadiach O Kayach Nidiach Davi Kayach Hamadiach. So the people who cause people to worship idols get the punishment. V'tanya Medich Nidachas Beskil Rav Shimon Omer B'Chenek. So according to this, Rav Shimon holds the punishment is Chenek. So the people that are worse, the ones who get you to worship the idols, get Chenek. And if you worship the idols, you get Saif. Obviously, Chenek is worse than Saif. So Margo ben Puma to Rav Yochanan, it was fluent in the mouth of Rav Yochanan Narma Rasa Bas Kain Shizitza Beskila, which we know is only according to the Shita of the Tanakama. However, Shimon Aimer B'Sreifa. So that's the din. So we have a machlokus, which one is more chomer, skil or sreifa, and therefore the question is what punishment we're going to give a nar marasa bas kain. That's one nafkamina. Zinsa miavia, if she was mazana with her father, right? Miavia, it's beskila. So the punishment. Let's find this Rashi. Zinsa miavia. Let's read the Rashi. Arusa Bas Yisrael shezinsa miavia dika shtei misais skila mishum arusa, right? So again, she was mazana with her father. She was mazana as a namarasa. She gets this. Sreifa mishum de miavia zinsa, because miavia zinsa de besreifa hikidam kidelfin and beeluhin and esrafin. We'll see later on in Daf Ayin Hey that the punishment is sreifa. So in this situation, she's chayiv skila and chayiv sreifa. So b'skila, so Tanakama holds skila because it's more chomer. If Shimon Omer sreifa, to my kamashman, what's the chiddush? Rabbanan nesua yatzla sreifa, nesua who's maskayin is yatzla sreifa v'la rusa. Rav Shimon achas rusa v'achas nesua yatzla sreifa. V'tayim b'mayim mishum du Rabbanan skil chamura v'Rav Shimon sreifa chamura. Nafkamina. So what's the difference anyway? They're going to be killed anyway. Nafkamina l'misha schayv shtei misa is based in nidoin b'chamura. You have to give the more stringent punishment. The question is, what is the more stringent punishment? Is it skila? If she's schayv skila and sreifa, which one do you give? My Rav Shimon, decide. Rav Shimon Omer shnei klolois nemer babas kain. There's two rules. Babas kain v'lo babas Yisrael. Ema af babas kain. V'hoitzi hakasuv. Nesua machlal nesua, varusa machlal arusa. Ma kashahaitzi hakosav nesua machlal nesua lahachmir. We go strict. Av kashahaitzi hakosav arusa machlal arusa lahachmir. We go strict. So the idea is because the pasuk goes out of its way to talk about a nar hamarasa. Is basically the idea. Obviously, it shows us more chomer. Okay. Zaymei nesua bas kayin. When it comes to someone who was found out to be Edom Zayman, to say regarding a Bas Kayin, she was Mazana with a man. Now the question is, what punishment did the Zayman get? Edom Zayman get? This is also about the beginning of Sechless Makais, because they wanted to give her Sreifa, but the Boil they wanted to give him Chenek. So which one is it? Zayman Nesua Bas Kayin Mechlal. Zaymi nesua bas Yisrael, v'zaymi arusas bas kayin mechlal zaymi arusa bas Yisrael. Okay, all right. And we end up learning out. It's really because it says v'yasisim lo ilasas ochiv. So in the case of there's two misais, we give his punishment, even though it's the one which is more kal. That's the whole chiddush. Okay, we're gonna stop there. Question 5. Bas kain nesula shezinsa be'ezim isin nidainis. So as I think we already did this, but it's machlokas. It's either sreifa or chenek, right? A bas kain nesua, she was mazana. So normally the din is that it's chenek. So Rabban Rav Shimon b'sreifa, Rabbi Shmuel b'chenek. Did I do Rabbi Shmuel b'chenek? Okay. In question 6, we didn't do yet. Baskan ki seichel my darsh Rabbi Kibbutz Rabbi Shmuel Rabbis Vav Yisera de Bahai Kra. We'll see this tomorrow. Rabbi Kiva Darish Rabos Nesuel Sreifa. Or Darish Rabos Benois Balois Mumin Lakadusha L'Shem B'Sreifa. Okay. Question TA 29. Mehechi Yof Rav Shimon the Chenek Chomer Messiah. How does Rav Shimon know that Chenek is more Chomer? So as we said, because by Irni Dachas, the person who did the Avodah Zarah gets Saif, those who entice them get the punishment of Chenek. Adkan.